The View is an ABC News program. I want to keep reminding you of that and reminding Disney Corporation that this is news, what you're about to see. They call this news. All right, Senator Ralph Warnock, who I'm told is a man of the cloth, he appeared on The View, ABC News product, and talked about Jesus, sort of. Take a look.
So when I watch this and hear it coming from folks who have a lot to say about their Christian identity, I have to say as a pastor, Whoopi, that I think Jesus is the biggest victim of identity theft in the country.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who this Jesus is they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, the Jesus I know was born in a barrio called Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Raised in a ghetto called Nazareth.
Yep.
He was an immigrant, smuggled into Egypt.
Sorry.
And in his very first sermon, he centered the poor. It's good news to the poor, deliverance to the captives, preaching the year of the Lord's freedom. And so that's something that I try to do and embody in my work as a United States Senator. I think that our country is going through what I call a kind of soul weariness. I know folks say we're in a constitutional crisis. We're definitely in a spiritual crisis.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so Pastor Warnock there, call me Senator, just said that as he goes about his business as a senator, he tries to inject his Christian faith into everything that he does. You heard that, right? I have to tell you that because over on Rachel Maddow's show, Chris Hayes' show, Lawrence O'Donnell, all the other usual suspects, none of them seem to complain about this radical Christian injecting his religious faith into his job. Raphael Warnock, that's his name. Yeah, sorry for forgetting. Pastor Warnock, by the way, also went on to describe himself as a Matthew 25 Christian. Hey, you heard me right. A Matthew 25 Christian. Apparently, Matthew 25, when Christian talks about compassion for the strangers and the marginalized. I was a stranger in a strange land, and you took me in. Matthew 25. He's a Matthew 25 Christian. Now, listen, with all due respect to the good pastor, to the reverend, yeah, I'm not a man of the cloth like him. I'm just a sinful, wretched, imperfect lover of Jesus Christ, my Lord. And thank God he saved my soul. I don't know what I'd be without him. So I'm a humble man here suggesting to you, my faithful viewers and listeners, that when somebody presents themselves as a this verse Christian, a Matthew 25 Christian, a John 3:16 Christian, a Paul Romans 1 Christian, I would be skeptical. You see, this is a big ass book right here. I mean, it is huge, very hefty. It's the Ignatius Study Bible, by the way. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of verses in here. Look at that, baby. That's right. No highlighters, no underlines. I've got a different one for that. This one I just like reading and studying. Don't isolate your faith down to one verse. I assure you there are other verses that harmonize with that one verse you're trying to emphasize. So if the entirety of your understanding of Jesus Christ's teaching has to do with Matthew 25, you're missing out on a whole lot more. A whole lot more. That said, the comparison of Jesus Christ as an immigrant who lived in a barrio was within the context of the conversation regarding the MS-13 gang member from El Salvador, who for a little while illegally called Maryland home. That's right, our pal, Kilmer Abrego Garcia. Senator Warnock, speaking on behalf of his party and I guess his church, compared Jesus Christ to a gang member. And I kid you not, that was actually the least offensive thing on this edition of The View. Let's move on, shall we?
Birth rates continue to decline in America. The White House is looking into offering $5,000 cash bonuses expanded access to IVF along with other incentives for women to have more babies.
I am dumbfounded. You know, the audience for this show is women of a certain age, upper middle age, let's call them. And they're rather wealthy for the most part, suburban. Look at that face. Look at the mocking of the idea of the government encouraging people to have babies. And this is just weird, isn't it? Listen, I know that she is an abortion enthusiast. I know that she brags proudly about all the multiple abortions she had before she was even in her mid-20s. But this idea of mocking people for wanting to procreate is kind of creepy and gross, isn't it? Just the whole delivery there with the over-animated facial expressions. I mean, either that or she's just trying to work through the Ozempic high that she's suffering from. But again, least offensive thing compared to what you're about to see.
Why? And okay. I am incredibly insulted by this because clearly they don't know how women's bodies work and they don't know what it costs to raise a child or just have a child. And $5,000? I don't know what $5,000 is supposed to do. And it's not even $5,000 because you have to cut it in half because you got to pay taxes on it. Yeah. So they're offering you $2,500 to have a baby. Now, don't forget about all the stuff they've cut.
Yeah. Right, we have a
That
list
you
of
need.
that.
Yes, you have a list.
Yep.
So I'm supposed to say to you all, and are you ready for this?
Yeah.
What do you think of this proposal?
Wow, they really are pretty evil over there. Whoopi Goldberg is mocking people if they think that it's a good idea to get a $5,000 payout from the government. I wonder if the Biden administration or the imaginary Kamala Harris administration had offered $5,000 if people got a safe, legal, and rare abortion rather than burden our society with another baby being born. I wonder what their reaction would be to that on the pro-woman side of the equation. Also, did you catch how she said, well, so it's only going to be $2,500 because you got to pay taxes on it? Hey, Whoopi, there is a very, 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 very small percentage of the American people who have to pay a 50% tax rate. I know you're one of them. The fact of the matter is, for over a third of the American citizens who actually don't pay any taxes because they're below the taxable income line, they're still wanting to have babies too, and they'll get that full $5,000. And the fact of the matter is, whoop, $5,000 will go a long way. Certainly more than they're getting right now if they have a baby, right? So if they're gonna have a baby anyway, what's wrong with $5,000? And listen, I'm not a huge fan of the government paying out money that we don't have, but Lord knows we pay it out for a lot of other stupid things to incentivize behavior, you know, like getting solar panels on your house. So she turned to her friends on the panel and said, what do you think about this? And then we heard what they thought about this. 3 guesses what Sunny Hostin said about this. You have 3 guesses, 1-word answer. How would Sunny Hostin describe this policy? Go ahead, make your guess. Here it comes. I should have only given you 1 guess.
Because when I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why, and I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births. But that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
No, I think I said
It's
enough.
not based on that.
And so, well, it's just based on a study. And so the other thing
But have
I
they
will
said that anywhere? I mean, I feel like
yeah,
it should be fair.
it's just
Fair to who?
it's just a.
Have they said that this is to target only white families?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You
I
have to
just
read
gave the
between the
stats.
lines.
I just gave the
They're not
stats.
going to
Yeah, but
say
it's
it.
about economics. They're wanting people to pay in.
I'm just giving, because when I
There you go. Elisa Farah apparently is the only honest person on the panel actually saying, oh, so you're saying this is just for white babies. I didn't say that because she thinks you're stupid. And she thinks that the corporate boxes at Disney, ABC News are stupid. But did you notice that the evidence that this is really just about white babies? She pointed to Hispanic babies and Asian babies. Well, what about the black birth rate, Sonny? I mean, isn't that relevant to this conversation? Do you have anything there about the black birth rate? Oh, no, probably not, because black babies are constantly being encouraged to be aborted right now by your party, by your ghoulish party. But there's nothing racist about that. Lord knows, Sonny hosted. Apparently, it's racist to offer $5,000 to have babies born in this country because we do, in fact, have a declining birth rate. That's racist. But spending all of our federal money on Planned Parenthood, started by Margaret Sanger, for the sole purpose of killing black babies before they're born, that's pristine and wonderful, and there's nothing racist there. You really do have to be stupid or evil to say some of the things that you hear from this panel. But there you have it. You pick your tribe. As usual, the answer is probably both. They weren't done on this one, actually. This is an abhorrent idea to them, that we actually have a government program that rewards people for having babies at a time when we have a declining birth rate in this country. Sonny Hostin there saying that we shouldn't do this because of racism. And then, of course, you can't mention race without then jumping to the other great cause, the climate.
But I'm one of those people that I feel that the Earth is overpopulated. So when it comes to
Then why do they want us to have more babies?
well, they want more babies because it affects not only the workforce but paying into entitlement
The social
programs.
safety
But
net.
what I would say is this is a short. They're missing the greater point. AI is going to be a problem for our entitlement programs way before the birth rate.
what entitlement program?
So
Like the social safety net.
if you have less people working in the workforce, you have less people paying into a system that eventually has to pay out. It's going to bankrupt the social services. The problem here is AI is going to defeat that way before our birth rates are. So they're missing something greater. They have to rework our social system.
Well, they need
I
to tax
actually-
billionaires for one thing.
That would help.
And corporations.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some more money to spend.
The genius that is the View panel. Well, there you go. My favorite part, I think, that really does need to be broken down is the very first words out of this Einstein's mouth.
One of those people that I feel that the Earth is overpopulated.
I feel that the Earth is overpopulated. Well, that's because you live in Manhattan, dear. Trust me, when I'm walking the streets of New York City, I feel like the Earth is overpopulated as well. You got to get rid of these people. Where do they all come from, for God's sake? Go home. I feel the Earth is overpopulated. They've been telling us that the Earth is overpopulated for like 60, 70 years. They hate human beings. They hate them. As long as they're alive. You know, dear, if the Earth is overpopulated, can I call you sweetheart? Can I be like Randy Weingarten? Ladies, if the Earth is overpopulated, why don't you guys volunteer to fix the problem? We'll start with you 5. That would be fantastic. You're right. The Earth is overpopulated by at least 5 overpaid, over-Botoxed women. Please help us out. Evil show. Evil show. Have I mentioned that that's ABC News? Yes, those ladies are the hard-hitting news colleagues of David Muir and George Stephanopoulos. They all go to the same cafeteria together at the ABC News headquarters. And they're all in the same business of lying to you.